And here we are with Bella Aquila Restaurant and Liz from Faces of Hope. Amy, tell me a little bit more about, why is this dear to your heart? And you're going to be doing a fundraiser for them on Wednesdays, the third Wednesday of the month. Tell us a little bit more.
So my friend Eric, who isn't here this time, he was here the last two times, and I started a self-defense business in the fall. And owning a restaurant and starting a new business, as I'm sure you can imagine, was a bit of a challenge. And so immediately my thought was, what can I do to bring my businesses together? And the obvious answer was to have fundraisers for the causes that I believe in, use my restaurant as a platform to raise funds and raise awareness for all of these causes. And so I already had this planned, but then when the lockdown happened, I put the plans on hold because we couldn't do it in person. And then I found out that all you organizations, Faces of Hope and everybody else, you're all doing the work, not only doing the work during the lockdown, you're doing more work during the lockdown because abuse was going up. People are locked up with their abusers, and you're getting less money coming in because the in-person fundraisers aren't happening. So then I thought, well, we're doing through the restaurant, we've been doing to go and delivery orders. And the obvious thing to do was just give you a portion of our sales for the day through the month of May, all the organizations. So the third Wednesday, then this is something I want to do ongoing because I want to have relationships with all of your groups and see what we can do to help. So the third Wednesday of every month will be benefiting Faces of Hope. And we're going to start tomorrow. It's going to be 20% of our sales, just off the top. It's going to go to you guys. And next month, I'm thinking maybe since we are actually open now for seating dining, next month 10% of the sales, and we can do a wine raffle. And as the physical distancing gets relaxed and we can mingle with our guests more, to do more fun things, the fun things that I've always wanted to do to help raise money for these groups. But for now, for May, because even though we are open now, phase two, it's still a little sketchy. 20% of the sales just seems like the most sensible thing to do.
That's awesome. And Liz, what kind of needs are you needing and seeing out there in the community right now?
Well, so Faces of Hope has been open during the entire stay-home order, and Faces of Hope is declared a first responder and emergency responder. So we have been open the entire time, which means we've been seeing victims. When victims come in, they can see a doctor and a nurse right in our office. They can meet with the police there, health and welfare. We have attorneys. So it's a kind of a one-stop shop where we can provide all the resources that victims need. And during the stay-at-home orders, what we've been seeing a huge increase in is, number one, the need for emergency housing. Shelters are often full or have long waiting lists. And so when a victim is chosen to leave, they don't often have a place to go right away. So we provide emergency housing that night for free at no cost to the victim. We provide emergency food. We will provide lock changes for their home and clothing and all the amenities that they need to get restarted. We also have emergency crisis counseling that's been taking place all during the stay-at-home orders too. So when someone's in need, the counseling lasts up to 10 weeks. We extended the amount of time that we normally have counseling sessions. Usually used to be that they would go for just 6 to 8 weeks. But now to make sure we're meeting everyone's needs, because there's such a waiting list for folks to get into other counseling after, we've extended it to 10 weeks. So we've seen, again, a greater need for emergency housing. We have seen a greater need for protective orders. In fact, the number of protection orders that we have helped get through has increased by 500%.
Wow.
The stay-at-home orders. So that's really significant. And what we were able to provide, starting right at the beginning of the shutdown, we were able to, Ada County Courthouse allows us to file those protection orders with a judge over the computer. We are one of the few places, I think we may be the only place outside the courthouse that can file those protection orders remotely. And so that the house they can't close. source as well. And then another thing that has increased for us right now during the stay-at-home orders is we have been providing a lot more track phones to victims. So even if they go and return to their home and are living with their abusive partner, they still have access to a phone that is not monitored. So they can use that phone to make calls, to have access to a safety net of resources without someone being able to check what phone calls they're making and what websites they're looking at, and you know, where they're seeking help. So that's something that we have increased significantly during this time.
And you help all different types. I mean, elderly care, you know, people don't think of that. They don't think of men. You know, there's lots of situations that happen that's just not, it's a whole gamut. So tell a little bit more about the people that you are helping.
Right. So yeah, so Faces of Hope helps victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, child abuse, elder abuse, and stalking. And so we see elder abuse all too frequently, surprisingly, because, you know, I think, well, just like everything, unless it's happening to you, you think it's not happening.
Right.
And during, again, this shutdown, the economic shutdown, elder abuse is increasing because, you know, people are desperate. And they what might have been holding a little bit of control over your parent can increase significantly at no time. And the stay-at-home orders are just a great tool for a controller to, you know, say you can't have access to your money because you're not allowed out and you're not allowed to do these things, and I need to have it all. And it's very difficult. What's interesting is we are receiving a greatly increased number of calls, but folks, the numbers coming in haven't increased at the same rate because they don't have the freedom to get to us. And there's no one monitoring. So, you know, you're not having those conversations at work or at your church, or you know, for the child abuse victims, the teachers are not seeing the kids and the counselors are not monitoring children. So it's eerily quiet, given
what's going on though.
Exactly. But the people that we are seeing, and we see men, we see women, we see children, the people that we are seeing, the severity of the abuse is increasing. So while we normally maybe see roughly, you know, less than we are seeing now, but you know, like I said, it isn't skyrocketed, but what we are seeing is disturbingly severe.
It's what I like is seeing a business coming forward and helping out organizations like yours, because you can't do fundraising like you used to. You know, there's a need out there, and it's going to increase. So, Amy, tell us a little bit about how, you know, how can they help out on a Wednesday, and what are the things you're going to do?
Well, two things. First, come out to the restaurant on Wednesdays, and like I said, just be here this week. Be here and order. 20% is going to go to Faces of Hope. In the future, when we have more fun things, we're going to have wine raffles, and we'll figure out a way to do that online. So people who still are not comfortable coming in, or they're self-quarantining, if they want to help, they can still buy a raffle ticket online. So our POS system allows us to do that. So that will be pretty easy as well. As far as the self-defense business that Eric and I are doing, he couldn't be here this week. He's got something came up at work, which on the one hand is good. You know, his work is busy. We're going to be producing some videos about what are called soft skills or alpha skills. These are the first set of skills that you use to keep yourself safe. Situational awareness, de-escalation, and we're going to specifically talk about how this relates to the lockdown and physical distancing. Enforcing your boundaries is, I mean, that's really a whole new thing now, and how people need to respect your boundaries, whether it's somebody in public, if you choose to wear a mask, or if you really want to stay 6 feet away, how to enforce those boundaries, and also in your own home. And with people in your life, you need to be able to enforce those boundaries as well. And you can use the in-person, the in-public boundary setting as practice. So that way, when it is your intimate partner, your family member, or whatever, you've already practiced setting the boundaries. It'll be a little bit easier for you to do. So we're going to be producing these videos pretty soon. Eric and I will. And is there anything specifically that you, Liz, want us to say in the videos? Is there anything specifically, a message that you want us to get across?
I think what you're saying is going to be so effective. And I think another way of also talking about it that makes it really approachable is to talk about it as boundary setting for self-care.
Yes. Yeah. I like the way you said that. Yeah.
I think that is something we try to talk a lot about with clients that come into Faces of Hope is, what's the most important to take care of you? And then learning those tools, they start to understand it, and it a little bit separates it from what's actually happening so that they can develop it without that putting too much pressure on them. So that would be amazing. And those videos would, because we normally have self-defense classes that we teach at Faces of Hope, but we can't be teaching those right now. So
online. Yep.
Yeah. And if at any point when those classes start up, if you want Eric and me to come in and do our thing too, we can do that.
That would be, yeah. I mean, the more access and the more that we can provide, the better it's going to be for everybody.
And businesses coming forward and helping you guys out. That's what it's all about. The community coming together and doing things together. This is what it's all about. So, Amy, we want to say thank you for your donations, and Liz, put it to good use and help.
And Liz, thank you for all the good work that you're doing and your organization is doing.
Thank you for doing all this for so many wonderful organizations. I just, it's great to see there has been such an outpouring of support in our community for people wanting to help, and it makes a huge difference.
That's what we're here for. All righty. You guys have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow for dinner.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.